Hi, this is Hesper Hyman, and this is the case study for EDL 850. So first is the summarization of the case. Mr. Sample is a principal at St. Regis School. This is a rural K through 8 school that's about 25 miles from the nearest large city, and they have a student population of about 420 students. Mr. Sample has worked with the PDA and the community for the 3 years that he's been with the school to help raise funds, and one thing that they have really focused on was establishing a school computer lab, and they've been able to establish one that houses at least 20 school computers and then software. Mr. Sample has put Miss Lynn, who's the school librarian and media specialist, in charge of the new computer lab. Mr. Sample and Miss Lynn have worked with teachers in order to decide what curriculum software that they needed to order. They went to all the teachers, got their ideas, and they prioritized that list and purchased software as needed. Once the computer lab had the software installed on it, then teachers were assigned times in the lab, which most of them used. About 4 months in, several teachers approached Miss Lynn and have the idea that if they could have the new computer software placed on individual computers in their classroom, then they would be able to use it more than possibly just going to the lab for group. They could use them as stations, or if there was downtime for a student, that they would have something to work on that was curriculum related. So Ms. Lynn was excited about this. She purchased blank CDs where she copied the software and then started to hand it out. Ms. Brandon is a third grade teacher. This is not her first year teaching, but is her first year in the school district. Questions Ms. Lynn about the legality of the copyright of the software. She refuses to take the software, and Ms. Lynn's kind of perturbed by this and says, she didn't know how they did things at her old school, but here they are all about trying to stretch their dollars. Ms. Brandon was very concerned about this and went to Mr. Sample about her concerns of the copyright violation. She spoke with him at length about, her concerns. She didn't take the software, but she's concerned about knowing that other people are using the copyrighted software. So Mr. Sample then goes and speaks with Ms. Lynn, where she admits that she has copied and distributed the software to the teachers. Mr. Sample explained to Ms. Lynn that what she has done was a violation of copyright laws and could cause problems for the school, the district, and Ms. Lynn herself. Ms. Lynn does not take this very kindly. She feels like she's just helping the students, and she thinks that the PTA will support her resourcefulness of using of the funds. So what are our legal and ethical issues? Ms. Lynn has put herself in trouble both legally and ethically. She copied copyrighted material, and then she distributed the pirated material to other teachers. Now, also, the teachers that accepted the pirated software put themselves in legal and ethical jeopardy. The actions of both Ms. Lynn and the teachers who accepted the pirated software violate the 1976 Copyright Act that was then modified in 1980. Basically, it's all the copyright laws that we have on the books, and when there's that copyright there, you have to decide, you have to know what the law is about distribution. The actions of Ms. Lynn and the teachers might have violated school policy concerning copyright. I don't know that at this time, but I would assume so. The actions of Ms. Lynn and the other teachers have put the school in legal jeopardy concerning copyright laws. So in synthesizing what the real issue is, St. Regis and the district have been put in legal jeopardy by the actions of staff by violating the 1976 Copyright Act. So who does this affect? When we look at the people that are affected by this, you've got Mr. Sample, the principal, Ms. Lynn, the library media specialist, and the computer lab specialist or monitor. All of the K through 8 teachers, Ms. Williams in 3rd grade, Ms. Brandon also in 3rd grade, PTA members, Ms. Evans, they speak about being the PTA president. When it talks about the teachers, we know that it's not just the teachers that are in 3rd grade, it's all the teachers that accepted the pirated software. The place that this is happening is St. Regis School. This is a K through 8 grade school. It's a rural school, 25 miles from a large city, and it is a place that is dependent on money raised by students and PTA for funding. So the program, as I see it, is software program for grades K through 8, copied software for programs from 3rd grade classes, and copied software distributed to K through 4 grade teachers. So could the conflict, the situation, or the decision be damaging to stakeholders or to the community? The conflict of pirating copyrighted material can be damaging to the school district, the teachers, students, and the community. So I looked up what the legal penalties are for copyrighted infringement, and they can include some or all of these infringements. So the infringer pays the actual dollar amount of the damage and profits. The law provides a range from $200,000 to $150,000 for each work infringed on. So if she copied 5 programs, that could be $200,000 to $150,000 per program. Infringer pays for all attorney fees and court costs. The court can issue an injunction to stop the infringing acts. The court can impound the illegal works, and then, last but not least, the infringer can go to jail. Now, as we'll find, as we know, it could include jail time for Miss Lynn and all of the teachers that accepted the pirated software. But individuals and groups have an important stake in the outcome. While the administration, staff, students, and the community all have an important stake in the outcome. If the school is investigated and found guilty of copyright violations, and they end up having to pay a hefty penalty or hefty fines, or some of their teachers or librarian or Mr. Sample himself goes to jail, this could be, a detriment to the community because it can completely close down the school system. Have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? At no time in the case study did I see that the superintendent had been informed of the situation. And that is one thing that Mr. Sample needs to make sure that he does, is to let the superintendent know what the situation is, and then it's up to the superintendent if they decide that they need to let the school board know or how they're going to move forward. Can I learn more about this situation? Well, I know the copyright infringement is a violation of federal laws. It's unclear in this case study what the school's policy is concerning copying and copyright. Do I know enough to make a decision? Yeah, I really believe that I do. I think there's enough information here. I mean, there's a clear violation of the 1976 Copyright Act. So, I mean, clearly the pirated and copied material needs to be destroyed. Also, they need to do a good cleansing of their school and make sure that they don't have anything else. Since it's unclear what the school policy is, it's really unclear if there is any disciplinary action that should be taken against Miss Lynn. So, in identifying my options, the first thing is Mr. Sample can just completely ignore Miss Brandon and does not speak to Miss Lynn about the pirated software. That's, one of the options. Mr. Sample ignores Miss Brandon and agrees with Miss Lynn about the distribution of the pirated software. Mr. Sample agrees with Miss Brandon and speaks with Miss Lynn and the teachers about the distribution of copyrighted material, making sure that it is destroyed. Mr. Sample ignores Miss Brandon and does not speak to. So, in evaluating my options, Mr. Sample ignores Miss Brandon and does not speak to Miss Lynn about the pirated software, or Mr. Sample ignores Miss Brandon and agrees with Miss Lynn about the distribution of the pirated software. So, what are the options? What's going to occur if that happens? Well, first of all, maybe nothing happens. They could use it for years. Nothing ever said. Nothing is ever done. Nobody ever knows about it. Or the school and staff is investigated and found guilty of copyright violations, which could cause hefty fines or jail time. If Mr. Sample agrees with Miss Brandon and speaks with Miss Lynn and the teachers about the distribution of copyright material, making sure that it is destroyed, first, we're looking at that the pirated software is destroyed and no new copies are made. We want to make that very clear. If Miss Lynn decides not to destroy the copies behind Mr. Sample's back, Miss Lynn would definitely face disciplinary action and possible firing. The teachers keep the copies and don't destroy them. The teachers that keep the copies could be faced with disciplinary action and possible firing. So I think the best option that they can do for their schools is that they need to destroy all the copies. We understand that it's a clear federal violation of copyright laws. I mean, this is black and white. There's no gray area involved in this. And so all the copies needed to be destroyed. So what are my steps for implementing my decision? Mr. Mr. Simple speaks with the superintendent about the copyright violation, he needs to make sure the superintendent is aware of what's going on. Mr. Simple has Ms. Lynn bring him all the pirated software so that he can destroy it. I don't believe that a good principal would just, okay, you take care of it. They need to step up, say, bring it to me, I will collect it all. Once he is aware that he has it all, then he can destroy it all, then he knows it's done correctly. Mr. Simple needs to have professional development with all staff discussing copyright laws and school policies. I mean, when we look at this case, at the beginning, it was the teachers that requested it. So somewhere there was a breakdown in the understanding of what copyright laws were, or there was a misunderstanding or just a thought of, we're so far out, nobody knows this, we're not going to get caught. So that really needs to be cleared up with all the staff. There needs to be a discussion of if there is any other copyright violations in the school and how it needs to be corrected. So all the teachers need to be upfront and honest about anything that is considered a copyright violation, and that information needs to be destroyed. Mr. Simple needs to meet with the PTA and explain copyright laws and consequences to the school and community if they are not followed. If Ms. Lynn is as upset about this as it said in the case study, she's going to be talking, and she might be talking to Ms. Evans, the PTA president. So Mr. Simple needs to make sure that he's getting out there and that he is talking to the PTA and meeting at their meeting and letting them know why the school took the stance that they did. So I feel like this case is very cut and dry. There is a violation of a federal law that requires the school to act swiftly. The only legal and ethical thing to do is to destroy the pirated software. There's no gray area in here. There is no, in case we get caught. It is a violation of federal law, therefore it has to be destroyed. So looking at the standards, in the first part, it's important as an administrator that I understand the laws. It's also very important that I pass on that understanding to all my stakeholders. So for the success of the school and the well-being of the students, I need to make sure that the laws and policies are being followed at all time. This doesn't mean I'm going class to class and being nosy, are you doing this, are you doing that? It just means that my teachers are aware, my staff is aware of the laws and policies, and that I am there supporting them through that. There should be school board policy that addresses the issue of copyright. As the administrator, I need to make sure that all stakeholders understand the policy and the federal law that governs copyright. As a staff, we need to make sure there are no other violations that are happening, and if there are, they need to be addressed and corrected. All of the stakeholders involved with the school, including parents and PTA members, need to be aware of the federal laws and the school's policies concerning copyright. They also need to be aware of the consequences for violating those laws and policies. They need to understand that we're not doing this just to be mean and just to make things cost more. There is a real foundation in being $150,000 per piece of software that's copied, that could just destroy the school and end up making it close. So the community and the PTA need to be aware of that. As an administrator, I need to make sure that I'm aware of what is going on in the classrooms and the computer lab. It would be my responsibility to make sure that pirated software is destroyed and any other material that violates the copyright laws. Once I have a clear understanding of the violation, I need to make sure that all pirated material is brought to me so that I can be sure to destroy it. If the software is already on a computer, I need to contact IT about removing it. This situation needs to be handled immediately. It is not something that needs to happen next week or a month from now. It needs to, as soon as he knows about the violation, there should be an email going out to all the teachers saying, you need to bring me any software that you have. Let me know if it's been loaded on your computer, and contacting IT immediately. This is my reference for the information concerning the penalties for copyright infringement. Thank you for watching.